Good afternoon. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. At this time, I would like to call the March 9th, 2021 Planning Board meeting to order. May I ask everyone to stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do any members have any conflicts of interest or disqualifications tonight? All right. Who we got? 5 people? All right. We have a quorum with 5 people. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda? Nope. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Any changes to the February 9th meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes as presented.
I'll move too.
I'll second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes from February 9th meeting are approved. Are there any items of old business? I believe we do have one. Agenda item PB 2016, Currituck County Tax Amendment, Utility and Drainage Easements. Request to amend the Unified Development Ordinance, Section 623 and 734 to prohibit on-site wastewater systems in utility and drainage maintenance access easements on individual lots, and to clarify that maintenance access drainage easements must be dedicated to the county. Staff is recommending approval, and Ms. Turner, take it away.
Good evening, thank you. I'll just do a briefish review of this text amendment that was presented at your prior meeting in February. This text amendment is initiated by the county, basically to revise the ordinance to prohibit the placement of on-site septic and drainage and utility easements. Staff is concerned about those septic systems and easements and maintenance drainage easements and the potential for damage to those critical septic systems in the easements. And the text amendment also will clarify that the easements for drainage shall be dedicated to the county. The county does seek to preserve access to these features associated with existing or future stormwater drainage districts. And so again, here's the language on page 17 of your packet. This language is there too, to amend section 6.2.3 utility B utility easements to add part D that on-site wastewater systems are prohibited in all utility easements on an individual lot. Then on page 18 of your packet, there's language regarding the maintenance access drainage easements in point of entry to the county, and that the easements shall be provided along at least one side of waterway conveyance systems that drain more than 5 acres. And then we've added this language, provided it's not part of a state permitted stormwater management system. So basically, any waterway conveyance drainage features that are part of a state stormwater permit, generally a new subdivision will have a state stormwater permit. We don't need access to those. Those will be maintained through the development maintaining their stormwater system. And these are just the list of the major drainage systems that require the 50 feet conveyance of easement on either side. And then again, part C is an addition that on-site wastewater systems are prohibited in all maintenance access drainage easements on an individual lot. And I showed you this last time. You can see, let's see if I can find, there we are. So you can see some of those major drainage districts here: Rolling Creek, Lateral A, Lateral B. Again, just a typical lot detail, so you can see what those, you can see here the 15-foot utility and drainage easement in the front, and drainage easements around the side and rear. And here's an example of a ditch with an easement shown. This easement is 25 feet from the ditch here, and you can see how it comes onto the lot. So it is a text amendment, and these are the factors you can consider in recommending whether to approve or deny a text amendment. I won't read all those out to you. You should hopefully are fairly familiar with those at this point. And then staff does recommend that the board adopt a statement of consistency and reasonableness, that the text amendment is consistent with the 2006 land use plan, water quality policies 6 and 8, and policy WS6. I think that's water sewer policy 6, and then housing and neighborhood policy 8 regarding the county to continue to enforce appropriate construction and site development standards for residential developments. And staff suggests that the request is reasonable and in the public interest because it clarifies that those drainage access easements need to be dedicated to the county, and it prohibits placement of on-site wastewater systems to protect, in those easements to protect individual site improvements from potential damage. I'm going to kick it to Lori real quick so she can just kind of fill you in, because Mr. Bissell did come to the last meeting and shared some slides with the board, and she'll give you an update of where we are on that.
Yes, thank you, Jenny. We spoke about this briefly in the work session, and Mr. Bissell did voice his concern about how this language would impact MXR, specifically some MXR development. After talking with the county manager and the county attorney, staff was directed to address, have language to address the drainage, the dedication of the drainage easements or to the county, and then the septic issues, not allowing the septic tank in the utility. Mr. Bissell, in his presentation to you all, was talking about one of the things he was had proposed was allowing in an MXR zoning district to allow septic tank infrastructure and potentially a repair area in open space. That was not the direction that staff had received. And after talking, like I said, like talking it over with the county manager and the county attorney, if this is something that Mr. Bissell wants to pursue, it would be his own text amendment, or of course he's also welcome to reach out to the Board of Commissioners, and if they want to incorporate his suggestions into the text amendment, we can do so at the later date. But our direction was to get the county's access to the easements for the drainage along the major drainage features that are outside of the subdivisions, but maybe some of those features that drain those subdivisions, the county would have access, and then to keep the septic tanks out of drainage easements and utility easements on new platted subdivisions. So there's two parts to this, and we didn't feel like his request was kind of the direction that we were given. So if you all have any questions about that, I'll be glad to answer them.
I don't think so. All right. Is that we're good? All right. Does anyone else have any questions? No? Okay. All right. Open for public comment. I don't see a whole ton of people signed up for that. Close public comment. All right, we'll open the floor for a motion.
I move to approve. Oh, I'm sorry.
Probably need to read the rest of it.
Sorry.
Ready to go, get out of here.
I move to approve PB 2105.
2016.
Sorry about that. I move to approve 2016 Currituck County Utility and Drainage Easement Text Amendment. Because it is consistent with the following policies of the 2006 Land Use Plan. Policy WQ6, Policy WQ8, Policy WS6, and Policy 8HN8. And the request is reasonable and in the public interest because it clarifies that required maintenance access drainage easements shall be dedicated to the county to ensure access to maintain drainage infrastructure. It prohibits placement of on-site wastewater systems and utility and drainage easements to protect individual site improvements from potential damage.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right. Next item. On to new business. Agenda item PB 2105, Currituck County Tax Amendment, Plan Unit Development Open Space. Brief description is request to amend the Unified Development Ordinance Section 186 and 10.5 to allow construction of a police, fire, or EMS facility on county-owned land designated as open space in a planned unit development, and amend the definition of police, fire, and EMS facility to include training facilities. And staff recommends approval for this one also.
Thank you.
Right.
So this text amendment is initiated by the Board of Commissioners. And to give a little bit of background, Corolla Fire and Rescue would like to construct a fire training facility behind the Pine Island Fire Station on county-owned property. And that county-owned property is in Pine Island Plan Unit Development. So it's part of a PUD. And that property is also designated as open space on the master plan for the PUD. I'm going to show you, and this you won't be able to see the details here, but I just kind of wanted to show you these amended sketch plans because I don't know how familiar you are with them. But you can see here, this is the most recently approved Pine Island sketch plan, and there's phases, like this is phase 1, 1A, phase 2, phase 3. So this shows the entirety of Pine Island PUD, all the lands, and it lays out the different uses within the PUD. So there's residential use, commercial use, open space. And there are requirements in the ordinance for percentages of those. And this lays that out so staff can review it and make sure that it's meeting those requirements. Then this is kind of zooming you in a little bit so you can see here phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. The property in question is here where there's the fire station. That fire station is actually here. And all this hatched area is open space. So you can tell on the plan what's open space and what's not. So it's kind of hard to see because it looks like that's the fire station, but it's really here. And you can see the county owns this property, and there's a well field back here, water plant, and an elevated water tower right here. And where the fire department wants to put this training facility is kind of right in here, which is county property. Fire department owns the property where the station is. The county owns this property behind. And so I'm just showing you that so you can get a feel for the PUD. You know, most of Corolla was developed in these PUDs, so most of the paved road portion of Corolla was developed in PUDs. Pine Island being the southernmost PUD. Just get a feel for the master plan. PUDs are a type of development that were permitted under prior zoning ordinances, and they're intended to foster development expected to promote a more efficient use of land, higher level of amenities, and more creative design. And they have these detailed sketch plans that lay out those areas. So when staff talks about changing the regulations that have to do with PUDs and what's allowed in PUDs, we just felt like for this particular text amendment, since this will apply to any PUD and county-owned land in any PUD that's designated open space, we thought we should narrowly tailor this language, so it would be limited in its use. But we thought that it may be appropriate, since there is limited land in that area of Corolla to put these public safety facilities on. And so that's why we've crafted this text amendment to apply only to PUDs and only to county-owned land and open space, because the ordinance lays out open space uses, and this particular use isn't one of those currently, and we didn't want to change that for any subdivision, open space in any subdivision for this use. So that's why we've crafted the language the way we have in section 1.8 and 10.5. And this is just when the fire department initially kind of came up with this. They had this plan. This is one of the pictures that they shared as an example of what this facility would look like. So fortunately, it's behind another building. Hopefully, will be screened, from the road, and that's about what they want to put on the property. So here's the ordinance language, and in your packet I included some more context of like the whole plan unit development language, just so you could see why we chose to add the language here under allowable uses. So the range of principal uses allowed on a site subject to a modified sketch plan, which is the plan I just showed you, are limited to the following. Then it talks about allowable uses for land that's designated residential, commercial, and then there's some uses here that require use permits in PUDs. And then we've added language in Part D that county-owned land designated as open space may be used as a police, fire, or EMS facility. So again, just very narrow with this text amendment. And then we also added this additional language regarding the police, fire, EMS facility definition to be clear that we meant that it also included fire training facility, included training facilities. So that's the text amendment. Again, these are the review standards consistent with the land use plan, ordinance, demonstrated community need, etc. So staff proposes this statement of consistency and reasonableness, that it's consistent with these policies of the land use plan. Public safety policy 1, that as the area grows, the county may establish strategically located substations for public safety services, provided that sufficient resources can be made available to properly staff and equip them. And then public safety policy number 2, that Currituck County shall support and encourage the development and improvement of firefighting services that enhance the security and safety of life and property, while resulting in the added benefit of lower property insurance rates. And then special policy for the Outer Banks number 1, that the county supports the provision of infrastructure and services adequate to meet basic quality of life and public health and safety requirements of residents on the Outer Banks, while at the same time not stimulating inappropriate, intensive development in environmentally fragile, hazardous barrier island areas. And staff suggests that the request is reasonable and in the public interest because it addresses a demonstrated community need by allowing for training facilities that will improve firefighter training opportunities in Corolla. And staff recommends approval of the text amendment. Be happy to answer any questions if you have any at this time.
Do I have any questions?
The maximum height is 35 feet.
Correct.
And, the fire department that's in front of it, I guess that's taller. right?
I'm not sure how tall it is. I mean, they were talking about setting a, this picture might be even taller than what they're proposing. Let's see, this was the description I got, and I put it right here in the 6 recycled storage containers attached to a concrete slab. Yeah. So 3 storage containers, one on top of the other.
Wow. I actually think it looks kind of cool.
It's,
You know, I think it looks kind of neat, actually.
I mean, it's probably not. I don't
Those
know
things
that
are
each of
probably
those
about
is 10 feet
8
tall. I'm
foot
not
tall,
sure.
there maybe.
Yeah, so it
8
will
feet.
likely be shorter than.
So that's
but the
all
Pine
storage
Island Fire
containers?
Station
Yeah.
isn't like a 3. I don't know how tall it is.
I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I was just wondering, from the road. Do you see it?
You may be able to see it. There is some vegetation back there, and but it's kind of like almost like in a corner, like in a turn. So hard to say.
Of course, there won't be any gunfire or training back there.
No, and they actually say that they're just trying to simulate like smoke and darkness. No power at this point. I tried to see that. I tried to end the meeting. Sorry.
Anybody else? No, I think we're good. Thank you. All right. We'll open the public hearing again, and we'll close the public hearing. No other questions? Hearing none, I'll open the floor for a motion.
I'm going to make a motion. I move to approve 21 PB 21-05 because the request is consistent with the following policies of the 2006 Land Use Plan: Policy PS1, Policy PS2, Policy OB1. And the request is reasonable and in the public interest because it addresses a demonstrated community need by allowing for training facilities that will improve firefighter training opportunities in Corolla.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Whose name you want her to put down? All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right. That's all we have tonight. So on to announcements. That was all we have, right? All right, just making sure. Does anybody have any announcements like to make? Nope. All right. Well, I don't have anything to announce either, so other than glad to see everybody here and glad we're done early and
We
no
will
drama
be,
tonight. We're good.
just to keep you all in the loop a little bit, we will be bringing all staff back to the office on March 22nd. We have been doing a working from home for those that, for a majority of the staff. Some of your planning staff has been in. I cannot work at home, but that's because I have small children. But everybody will be coming back. We still are going to be limiting access to the courthouse. We'll be taking appointments, but it will be a little bit more business, as trying to get back to a little bit of business as usual. So I think most of county employees have had a chance to get the vaccination, so we have a level of protection. So if anyone have any questions?
Do you
about
happen to know when the next vaccine
It's tomorrow.
thing is?
I do not, but check the county's website and the link with the Albemarle Regional Health
It's on the
Health
website?
Department. They're the ones that are spearheading this, and we are solid teammates with them.
Yeah, it's tomorrow at Maple Park, and it's for, I think, was for anyone.
Okay,
I think it is the first shot.
Yeah, yes, the first shot, yeah.
all right.
From like 9 to 11:30 or 8
Possibly
to
tomorrow.
11:30.
Okay. Well, anybody else? Well, thank you. Motion for adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Second.